John, on that note, on our fateful day in New York Peak, 2006, I mean, a little bit of background on me. I was a climber first and a skier second, so I learned to get myself in trouble really quickly with the ability to get up on top of most stuff and then not be so good going down it. But we were on a peak. John, you were with us in 2006 on New York when staring down from the summit down a steep shot with a few hundred feet, and you had to make a hard left to avoid a rock wall. And I was second one to go, and Joel got first, and I was pretty gripped. And you know, Pat, where are you? I'm kind of starting to side slip down, and Pat, bless your soul, was like, dude, turn! You're killing all the corn. I was ruining the run. So finally, I got focused, and I made my turns, and I skied down a couple hundred feet, all good, and I pulled up next to Joel in a little pull-out zone, waiting for John and Pat to come down. And I was still kind of gripped, you know, all focused and wide-eyed and not breathing well. And you know, Joel kind of just put his arm around me. He's like, "You look great, Chris. You look great. Awesome, man." Awesome. You know, I just when he did that, I relaxed, and it was all good. And we still had a lot of steep skiing left, and it was just all gravy from there. It was all fun. So, cheers to again to his warmth and his personality there.
Cheers.
So, a second story, quickly before we come on to the next speaker. Another time in 2005, Joel calls me up, you know, on a Thursday. This is in my single days when I had a lot of schedule flexibility, and I was able to. He's like, "Dude, Crested Butte, wildflowers are going off. Let's go!" You know, it's 9:30 on Thursday night. I'm like, all right, I'm in. What time want to leave? So we get in the car. It's you know, I think we pull out of Boulder around 6, and you know, we get on 93 south, and we're in Joel's old Saab, and you know, as soon as we get out of town, it's like pops in the CD and dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Highway to Hell. So we pounded AC/DC for a couple hours, but the funny part of this weekend was the first night we get down, we pull into Obi Joyful Campground, we find a site around, I don't know, 10:30 at night. It's kind of late, and it's a full moon. I mean, it is bright. It's like a searchlight. So we just pull out. We get our sleeping bags out. We bed down and we lay down. And I'm like, God, you know, I try to sleep, and it's just a searchlight. So after about 20-25 minutes, I finally get out of the car. I pitch my tent and going to go to sleep. And I think Joel like tied a shirt around his eyes or something. So we go to bed, sleep. Everything. So sometime around first light, you know, 5 a.m., 5:30, something like that, I hear, pardon my language, "Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit!" You know, kind of, holy shit! And I didn't recognize his voice.
You told me you yelled, "Shut up!"
I've known Joel for a long time at that point. I didn't recognize the voice. You know, who's some yahoo in the campground. So it keeps going on, you know, like 10 holy shits later. I kind of like crawl, I unzip my tent, and I'm like, what's going on? And I look, and there's Joel, you know, up on top of the picnic table, just in his boxers.
Naked. You told me he was naked.
He had his boxers on.
I just like that romance thing.
I'm like, what the hell happened? And the story went that a neighborhood black bear had been roaming through, and you know, Joel kind of cocooned up in his bag and zipped the whole thing. So he was warm, and then had his eyes covered, so just his nose and his mouth were exposed. And he was sleeping there, and he kind of was started to wake up, and he heard like, and then he, you know, pulled his shirt away, and there was a black bear sitting there. Yeah, kind of. So then when he moved, the bear reared up. fell down and then shot off through. I never saw the bear, so this might just be a story. Long gone by the time I got up.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
Joe was not naked at the bar with me.
That was pretty good. Let me ask while I fill time is... Absolutely. Now, there's
Step up, step up.
You haven't figured out yet. We're just making this up.
You didn't need to resolve.
There's no orchestra that's going to cut you off. You're good.
Oh, this is a little intimidating. Can you hear me? All right. I'm Joel's stepmother, and so you won't believe this, but I have not one biking, one backcountry skiing story to tell about Joel and me. But I do have a couple of experiences that maybe his mother had similar ones, but probably not the rest of you did. Maybe Kevin. Well, I'll just tell you about the first time I met Joel. I just started dating Steve, and I liked him a lot. And he called me and he wanted me to go out with him and his kids. And I was really excited about that because I like kids and I liked him. I thought it was a good sign for our relationship. So anyway, I went out with the kids, and then we come back to his house, and he's putting the kids to bed. And, you know, I don't really know him that well. I don't know the kids. So I'm sitting in the living room and reading, you know, a magazine or something. And there's this there's like, you know, that little thing, and I look up, and Joel, who's about this big around and about maybe 8 or something, I can't remember how old he was, in his underwear, walking with a magazine, mocking me out. I just met him, and he's mocking me out. As I said the other day, I have no kids of my own, so having Steve's kids in my life has been a wonderful blessing. And you know, I think it is different with boys and with girls, and particularly, it was easy to kind of find things in common with the girls, and we could do different things. But with Joel, it was a little hard because he and Steve were into, you know, sports, and I couldn't really do all that and so forth. So I found card games and stuff. But one time he came to visit. He was about 14. I took him shopping, clothes shopping. So we were leaving the mall. We're walking down the mall. We're talking and everything, and somebody touches me on my shoulder, and I look around, and there's nobody there. It's Joel. He's put his arm around me. And I melted instantly. So I'm thinking, okay, do you want the car, the bank account, the house? I could have had anything at that moment. And I would have anything to have him back. But he had a wonderful life here with you all. So I thank you. Drink.
Is any other spontaneous volunteers, by the way? Please. By the way, another person wanted to know, is Docky here? I thought I met you earlier. Of course. Are you still game?